Howdy folks, Jamboree here, and I have something very exciting to announce. John R. Dilworth, the creator of Courage the Cowardly Dog, who I interviewed a few years ago, recently invited me to a critic screening of his brand new animated short, Goose in High Heels. In this video, I'm going to be giving an exclusive review of Goose in High Heels, and we'll be chatting with John about the film after. So let's first discuss my personal thoughts on the creator of Courage the Cowardly Dog's latest project. Goose in High Heels follows 3 connecting stories, each of which revolve around a struggling cartoonist. Now, if you enjoy John's usual work, then this short is bound to please you. Goose in High Heels is packed with John's trademark surrealist black comedy, featuring an array of mind-bending, strange visuals that'll weird you out, but also impress you. In addition, his distinct wacky style of animation is rich with goofy energy and wild slapstick, reminiscent of classic Looney Tunes or Ren and Stimpy. Sure, the animation is not as refined as Courage the Cowardly Dog, but there's a raw charm to the animation's rough edges, and it's a bit much to expect his indie work to be just as polished as a Cartoon Network funded series. Also, despite the low budget, you can tell that John has put his heart and soul into all the frames of animation, as imaginative personality screams from every character's action. The animation for these characters are full of strong kinetic energy and joyfully kooky personalities, whether it's the sprightly flamboyant movement for the cartoonist or the frantic antics of his pencil creations. But Goose in High Heels isn't all over-the-top comedy, it's also full of thought-provoking and profound themes, including creative frustration, superficiality, romance, and grateful appreciation. John is a very deep individual, so you can tell that these are topics that are close to his heart, and they're all very relatable human issues that audiences can connect to. Although Goose in High Heels is very surreal in execution, so multiple viewings may be needed in order for you to interpret what John is getting across, but I do respect John for making something that requires high observation skills and creative viewing as an audience member. It's not a conventionally told story, so don't expect a contemporary structure grounded in reality. This is a very experimental and time-warping approach to storytelling. If you're getting tired of seeing the same kind of story in animated projects, then this movie is definitely a change of pace, and a reminder that stories don't always have to follow the same template and you can try different things. I mean, I watch animated films for a living, and sometimes it can get very exhausting seeing the same film narrative techniques again and again and again. Goose in High Heels takes things in a different direction, proves that you don't always have to follow the rules, and you can use animation to tell stories in really unique or strange ways. Of course, I don't follow the philosophy that if something's different then it's good. Goose in High Heels tries something refreshing, but also excels at it. Now, you may have noticed that I've not really gone into much detail about the film, and this is because I'm trying to avoid any kind of spoilers, which is a really overwhelming task when you're discussing a film that's only 20 minutes long. This may sound frustrating to people who want to know every nook, cranny and detail of what happens in this film, but I've decided to keep this a very abstract review in respect of John. Until you can find an opportunity to watch this film, the best I can do to help you better understand what this film is like is encourage you to go off and see the trailer, which is available on John's YouTube channel. I'm going to be linking the trailer in the description box below. To conclude, Goose in High Heels is a wonderfully quirky short that'll rocket you through an array of visceral emotions. It can be funny, sad, thoughtful, profound, strange, entertaining, scary, and much more. Sure, it can be difficult getting your head around the unconventional narrative, but once everything clicks, you'll start to appreciate what John is going for. Okay, so let's now talk to John himself about the film. Thank you for joining me, John.
It's my pleasure, Jam. Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing I want to ask you is, where did the idea for Goose in High Heels come from? Like, was there something you saw or experienced that lit the fire for the project?
The project emerged from my psyche in an unknown place, from notebooks, from sketches. I don't know where it came from.
Wow. So it's your entire own imagination, really.
Yeah, I had a small notebook, and I was doodling in that notebook, and I filled it up, and and I tore out all the pages, and a story emerged.
That's really impressive because, like, I struggle from writer's block, so it's amazing that this has just come out of nowhere for you.
It came out of nowhere, but that nowhere I would like to believe is in us. Well, it was in me.
Wow. You also have a very imaginative take on drawing birds, and Goose in High Heels features various feathered creatures. When I see one of your bird characters, I know it's distinctly yours, because no one else draws them that way. Where does this style stem from?
I have a fetish with birds, apparently. From the earliest days, you go to the Dirty Birdie, and all through Courage, birds just appear. And I don't know if there's one particular way of drawing birds. I think it's more of however way the form appears and it appeals.
Sweet. Sounds like a very personal way of drawing. Now, Goose in High Heels connects various stories together, and characters even cross timelines. Was this tough to write?
That The three stories are all related. They all come
Mm-hmm.
from the author's mind, and the picture is it's a trans-dimensional experiment, really, where our our thoughts of our memories from childhood come forward and mix with the present and even predict the future. And then, of course, the author is writing the story of the geeses, of the goosies.
Do you hope that people will be able to read this kind of storytelling because it's very unconventional?
It is. It is. I'm quite concerned by it. I really try to approach the film from a pure sense, from a pure place, and with very minimal distractions. And I really believed in that kind of magical thinking. I have no idea. I would want audiences to be engaged fully. I suspect that it may be a challenge, but this is not going to be a kind of picture we recline and have pass through us. I want you engaged.
Well, I personally felt very engaged. So, which animation software did you use for Goose in High Heels, and how long did it take you to produce the whole short?
Well, the production itself, 2.5 years, and
Wow.
I just drew straight on a Cintiq using a really simple uh, proletariat software called Flash, and it was a big learning experience for me because the computer wants to participate. It converts your line, so it was a matter of compromise.
Did you watch any examples of Flash animations before bracing this software?
No, I didn't look at them. The Flash animation I'm familiar with are mostly cutouts, very sophisticated stuff, but it's yeah, the cutout animation reminds me of. But I wanted something that was more natural, like sketching in a notebook.
Hmm.
No, I wasn't concerned with creating absolute uh, lines, perfect lines, let's say. I wanted it loose, and the computer helped me. The Flash software helped me.
So you're saying you wanted a bit of scratchiness, a bit of roughness to it?
Yes, yes, I wanted that. I wanted just as it came out in the
Ah.
software. There's,
Oh, sweet, that's cool.
yeah, that was. It just seemed natural. Instead of fighting the software, making it conform to your will, my will, I just allowed it to be as it was, like any relationship, I guess.
Yeah. And this short is also dialogue free. Characters mumble and scream, but they have no lines. Did that give you a lot of creative freedom, or did it make the storytelling difficult for you?
Well, it's natural for me to express complex emotions and desires without words. I've been doing it for a long time. I always felt that it was a very effective way of communicating without words, and you can almost say that's a universal language. Of course, I refer to Charlie Chaplin's work, The Great Silent Period.
Hmm.
I mean, these were masters. I didn't need them to talk.
Do you think that animated projects should be more frequently silent?
Oh no. Well, no, not well, no, because there's a practical reason to have a lot of talk. It depends on the piece. TV series production requires you talking because it's just too expensive. And also, there's no control of all the animators who their sensibilities are not all the same.
Okay, cool. Now, what would you say is different from making an independent cartoon to running a show like Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Courage the Cowardly Dog was a factory process. You had hundreds of workers. It's a very different thing when you're creating art. Goose and High Heels is art, and it requires the demands of art, not commerce.
So yeah, you'd say it's drastically different then.
Yes, it is.
But which way do you prefer personally?
Well, I love them both. I love production. I'm a production animal. I mean, I really enjoy it. I love the high of production when it runs really well. And the intimate stuff I feel is necessary for our self development. Uh, it's my way of extending ideas that ordinarily would not be so welcome in a commercial venue.
And do you think that fans of Courage the Cowardly Dog will like Goose in High Heels?
Jam, I don't know. I don't know. I really want to know this myself. I just don't know. I don't know if the film is too
Hmm.
alienating by its challenges, narrative challenges, or shortcomings of my own skills. I don't know. But festivals will let me know soon enough when we, we know where it's going to screen.
Well, as someone who's a fan of Courage the Cowardly Dog and has seen Goose in High Heels, I can say that Goose manages to be its own original beast, but it also has the essence of Courage. For example, the desert location that the geese come across reminds me heavily of the middle of nowhere.
Yes, yes. They're in the landscape of Harriman and Crazy Cat, which continues to inspire me uh, decades after I discovered Harriman, George Harriman. And this landscape also is representational of potentiality. There's nothing there, but there's always something
Hmm.
going on. And I invite it invites the characters to create something. And also for me, it's a wonderful horror set. I mean, a lot of times you think of woods,
Yes.
these creepy woods, that's a horror set. But for me, I don't want any obstructions. It's more terrifying to to have horror right there, but you don't really see it.
Yes, there's something eerie about the desert.
And I like also that it's a reflection of the character's psyche, where they are. They're in a place of
Hmm.
desert. They're in isolation from themselves, from the
Yes.
world. And and in Goose and High Heels, an objective of mine was to project that the character's behavior bring upon the demons. They invite them to occur by their own anger, by their own um, casualness of unfamiliar places, by projecting their own demands on the world, by having irrational expectations. But I love the component of the psyche coming through, and I've always been obsessed with this idea that the Greeks had, where demons demons really are unexpressed emotions, and you have to let them have their way, or they're going to have power over you.
It's kind of like a war with yourself, really, isn't it?
Isn't it what Plato said? Be kind to each one of us. Be kind because we're all engaged in a furious battle. I mean, he said it more eloquently.
So, Goose in High Heels is currently at the stage of potentially entering the festival circuit, but do you plan on releasing it onto YouTube at any point?
Well, that's undetermined right now. Is we're just beginning to submit it to festivals, and really, depending on the reaction of the world to the film, we'll be able to decide what to do with it next.
Well, John, thank you for your very interesting answers to my questions. I wish you good luck on the festival circuit for Goose in High Heels, and I really appreciate that you've taken the time to talk to me.
Oh, Jam, thank you, just a joy.
Again, I'd like to remind my listeners that I've linked the trailer for Goose in High Heels in the description box below. It'd be great if you can go and check it out and give it some feedback. I also hope that you enjoyed both my review of Goose in High Heels and my interview with John. If you did, then please click the like button for this video, and if you're new to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe because I make a lot of videos about animation. I've been Jamboree. Cheerio, folks.